Yard is brought to you by Carbone Lawyers. When things go wrong, get Carbone on the phone.
The Sportsbet Ballarat Cup, listed level $500,000 up for grabs over the 2,000 metres. It's been at that distance for its past 6 editions. Berkeley Square last year defeating Lady in Pink Globe, Poison Chalice 4th, Aerosol 7th and Cadmus 11th are back for another crack as well at the Goldfields feature. Horse 1 is Casino 17. Gavin Bedgegood with 2 at the top of the weights. Hutch, he comes here off success in last Saturday's Group 3 Eclipse.
Yeah, like the back up, and he's obviously in good form. He got a beautiful run there, but he was, well, more tenacious than most. He attacked the line well, so now that he's hit a bit of form, I'd be respecting his chances again.
Horse 2 is Kingswood, the stablemate. He dodged the Eclipse as a result of concerns over a softish track, which he struck again today. He was excellent third up, winning the Cup Day Plate.
Yeah, I love that Cup Day Plate when he was really good through the line, I felt, and he should be ready to at least hold that form, if not peak today at this stage of the preparation. They've dodged the wet. They're not really doing that today, but he's a quality galloper.
Yeah, he's looking the picture in the mounting yard. He's going to get a real cushy run from that good gate, and I think he'll be one of the ones having the last crack.
John Allen trying to make it 4 of the last 8 Ballarat Cups. 3 Aerosol returns, 7th last year off a 2nd in the Cranbourne Cup. He was 6th and an unlucky 6th at that, 2 lengths off Sabaj.
There were certainly excuses, weren't there? I mean, he just ended up in a horrible spot for him in a race where they went pretty quick as well. But there's not much speed here. He's nicely drawn. He can land on speed and he'll be very competitive.
To our defending champ, horse 4, Berkeley Square. Kawhi doing it over the 2,200 and the 2,000 in back-to-back years in 18 and 19. It's been a slow, progressive build-up throughout the spring. He's always been around the mark.
Yeah, that he has, Nige, but I feel it's time to hand it over to Jayla and ask her thoughts on him as if I didn't know.
Nah, he's looking incredible. Same sort of program as last preparation. He's got the addition of blinkers on, which I think he'll appreciate, and it might sharpen him up off what looks like not a very fast tempo.
5 Detonator Jack's been to 2,000 metres previously in a Doomben Cup. He was 2nd in the 1,400 metre race on heavy ground this day 3 years ago.
I was disappointed a bit in his run behind Casino 17. I just felt that he had his opportunity in that race, and he's run another nice race. But see, when you look at these, hasn't won in over 700 days, and he loomed to win at Flemington. I'm just thinking that he might not be one to rely on at the moment.
We'll circle back to the stablemate horse 6 St George and hone in on 7 Poison Chalice. Damien Lane to ride a ½ kilo over. 4th as favourite in this race 12 months ago. 3rd in the Chester Manifold. 5th last Saturday in the Eclipse.
Yeah, hard to make too much of a case for him out of defeat. Maybe the backup will suit. He started favourite in the Eclipse last week, and maybe leading didn't suit, but that's hard to cop as well, given when you've seen what he's done on other occasions. So he's playing disappointing. Can he turn it around? Absolutely he can, but you need to be forgivable.
8 Positivity is a scratching. Horse 9 Statuario, deep into a preparation. Got to 2,000 in a Naturalism and a Coonji at his 2nd and 3rd runs. He's passed to have been the Sub-Zero at 14 and then a Cranbourne Cup run where he simply didn't get a crack at them.
He's probably the Prince Eric of this field in terms of he's been really good in a lot of races without much luck. And I think if he gets the right run today, he could certainly run a bit of a race in. At least you're getting a price. He's $15. He's certainly capable.
10 Shayar was in the benchmark 84 2,000 this day 12 months ago. 2nd up, good effort behind Kingswood. And also St George to run 3rd in the Cup Day Plate.
And only beaten a couple of lengths there, basically. So he doesn't have to improve a heck of a lot from that to be very competitive here. And, yeah, 3rd run of the preparation, one would imagine he'll be primed.
Annabelle and Rob Archibald send the 11 firm agreement to Ballarat after 3 runs across the New South Wales spring. If he begins well, intention is to be ridden more forward.
Yeah, well, that'll be a task in itself, given when you look at his settling position throughout pretty much his last half a dozen runs. He's won 1 of 14. I can understand the desire to have him handier, but he's hard to have.
12 Promises Kept has got runs in the Murray Bridge and John Letts under the belt at home. Michael Hickmott has been fairly transparent in the media that he wants to use this as a prep run for next Saturday's Pakenham Cup.
Yeah, that's a fair call. Might do well on the back up and drops a little bit in weight from the John Letts. But, yeah, it was just a run there, so maybe be ready to peak next week. We'll keep an eye on him for that race at Pakenham.
13 Cadmus is back, 11th last year, 6th in the Coonji, and then you put a pen through the run on Cup Day in the Australian Heritage Handicap. A foot abscess noted in the steward's report.
Yeah, and I think just outside of that, though, he's over 500 days now. I think he might have reached his mark in the handicap, his official rating where he is at the moment, and he's not finding it easy. He's racing well enough overall, but, you know, he just might need to find something easier.
14 Ocean Beyond, third last week in the Eclipse. He won over 1,200 metres on this program 4 years ago.
Yeah, I thought he might have been a little bit of value last week, and look, he ran well. He closed off nicely. Geez, he's honest, isn't he, for a horse that hasn't won in over 1,200 days, but ultimately he's been beaten less than a length last week, so I don't think he'll be too far away here either.
15 Ghetto Superstar as a 67 rater would have been right on the cusp of getting into the field in the benchmark 84, third in the Moe Cup, and lands in the Cup here.
Yes, good luck to the connections, and including Dr. Ian Cruz, who I caught up with earlier in the week. But look, this is a horse that probably aiming high enough, but he's racing in really good form, and he has handled wet ground. I do prefer him probably on better footing, but you're getting a price at least.
No sign of St George's yet. We'll try and get a look at him on the way to the gates. But a good field assembled for the 2025 listed Sportsbet Ballarat Cup. For many people, Hutch, it's Kingswood versus St George again, but no denying the chances of the defending champ Barclay Square either.
Yeah, it's an interesting race. I honestly feel that the weather's really thrown a spanner in the works here for both horses, for St George and for Kingswood, and how it will play out. And this wind has picked up significantly as well. Air Assault, the market doesn't want a bar of it, does it? Really drifting in the market. And they've thrown Detonator Jack. I was very keen on Kingswood. I still think he's the horse to beat, but I have been tempered somewhat by the prevailing conditions.
Well, Hutchie, that's unfortunate. Both of them have got to get through it. And you know what they say about greys on a wet track. They'll be right. They're ready to peak. And in particular, St George, he's third up and he's ready to rock and roll hard fit. Karen Maher local track. Hello. No wonder he's swapped with Kingswood into 380 now. Punters are tapping the app. St George, clear-cut favourite, 380. With that Kingswood hold, you're going to get a better price out to 420. Air Assault, the one they have to run down, hasn't moved. Barclay Square, blinkers on, $9.50, $10 is enough to say that it can go back to back. And Detonator Jack, the stablemate of St George, hello, $9.50, back out to 11, but there's been a specking for him. Get your bets on for the Sportsbet Ballarat Cup. They're ready to rock and roll. Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the 1-800 number or visit the website.
Word is coming through that Horse 6 St George has been replated, or is being replated in the stalls, so we'll wait for more information. That's a bit of a long-range view, certainly no close-up of the work that the farrier and anyone else from the Maher stable are doing to have St George, who, as Simon attested, has been well supported in betting. Hutch, as you were combing your way through the form for the race, for many people was an obvious case to be made for St George that he was one run further back than Kingswood when they met in the Melbourne Cup Day Plate, and now he will have the advantage of a 1.5 kilo swing in the weights.
Yeah, there's two factors, and I just felt that perhaps the barrier would offset some of that advantage, but there's a case to be made, and I mean, there's really nothing between them in the market. As I said, though, neither really wanted wet ground. Neither horse. I don't think Kingswood, probably to a lesser degree, but St George hasn't seemed to handle wet ground at all thus far, which is rather unusual from where he hails from, but that's just what we've seen in the past. And you know what, it's I mean, the ground's soft, but it's probably soft ground that most horses, I suppose, Jayla would handle from that perspective, but there've been a few that haven't got through it today. Yeah,
as I said earlier, just that soft top layer of surface and that bit firmer underneath, and some horses find it really hard to get traction on it and get through their gears, and that's when they put the white flag up. So I do believe this will be a bit of a tactical affair, but we'll have to see.
So the pictures kind of align with the message that has just come through from the stewards. We're 100 seconds away from the scheduled start time of the Ballarat Cup. The runners are yet to leave the yard, and the reason is via stewards. St George will now race with standard plates in front. There will be a delay to the running of this race while he is replated. So we wait for confirmation of St George's presence in the yard, and then we'll find him come into the yard, and the runners will head out for A Ballarat Cup that will not start at 5:05 as scheduled.
Hasn't deterred the punters off wanting to back him, though. He's the horse that has been supported. He's into favourite and clear at that. These farriers are hard at work and trying to get it done as quickly and as soundly as that they can, so I don't think it'll be too much longer. But while all that's going on, Judd, it looks like most of these that are braving the conditions are handling the moment pretty well.
Yeah, and that's really important, especially when it comes to a race of this kind of distance. You can't be wasting your energy in the mounting yard. These look like all-seasoned older horses. They're handling the occasion well.
Of course, brings back fond memories for yourself as well about this time last year. What a thrill that was.
Yeah, it definitely does, and gutting to not be sort of on that side of the fence today, but albeit I'm still glad to be here and be a part of it. It's a great day for the whole racing community here at Ballarat.
Jack Turnbull, we heard from him earlier in the day, and I think Nigel's going to have a little chat with him now.
That's right.
Jack, we're all lying in wait for your grey to arrive in St George. What can you tell us about what you know of what's taking place out the back?
So he lost a tip, which is one of the shoes he has on. So they're just replacing that in front. So I mean, it's something we've had on him since first up this prep. He's fit or in tip-top condition. There's no soreness there. So naturally, you know, being in a race, you need to have a full set on, and that's what they're putting on.
What's the expectation and understanding on how he's going to handle conditions?
We're pretty hopeful. I mean, that's why he's still in. And the way the track's playing, it's very even. They look like they're just getting into it just and flicking it up. But they're coming from the front, coming from behind. And times that we've been looking at have been averaging between a 6 and a 7. So we're happy.
Who do you see as your biggest dangers?
Clearly Gavin's. Yeah, I think it's between the two greys. If we step, sort of left it to Craig just to weigh it up, we don't have to be as far back as what we were at Flemington, and he can assess as he breaks. But horse is pretty fresh and well, and third up 2,000, he should be peaking.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, there we have it, and there's shots of Harry Coffey having a chat with Johnny Allen, it looked like, there, just pre-race. Of course, each rider having saluted today. Johnny Allen getting away with the first race about a horse that there was a bit of support around for, and Harry successful on one. Actually, both reasonably good price winners as well, I can tell you. Here we go, Jala. Like, we've got all the riders hanging over, waiting, looking around, looking rather anxious, I suppose, and ready to get on with it. Let's hear from Dan O'Sullivan, who's about to chat with Nige.
Dan O'Sullivan joins us, head of Berkeley Square's tilt at back-to-back Ballarat Cups. We spoke at the beginning of the afternoon and posed the question of how the conditions might land. You feel like it's sort of almost in the sweet spot, that it's soft but not too soft?
Oh, it's as soft as we want. It does look like a bit of momentum down the outside now into the tough headwind, and he does handle this soft. I wouldn't want it any softer. But probably the thing with the wetter track, he's a proven 2,000 metre plus horse, so he's going to be really strong at the end, where some of these might be a little bit sus at the journey. So I think that falls into our hands a little bit, but he's presenting well. He's parading good with the blinkers on today, which I was pretty keen to see. So hopefully Luke can get him to switch off and get to the right part of the track when we need to.
For those who didn't catch our conversation at the start of the broadcast today, you feel like you've got him in almost a replica of the order he was in 12 months ago? Yeah,
I'm very happy with it. It's been very similar to run. Probably the only thing is we didn't go to the race at Sandown, at Caulfield last week. Last year we did it off a weeks back up. This year we've got 4 weeks, but 4 weeks ago we said this is our race to go for. So everything we've done at home has been geared towards this, and everything he's done at home has been fantastic. So hopefully he's here in the right frame of mind.
Go well.
Thanks, Nigel.
Yeah, and interesting, there's been a little bit of support now. It looks like the riders are starting to make their way over to their respective horses now, so must indicate that St George is not too far away from making his way in. So let's hear from David Brown now while we've got a moment.
David Brown's with us. Statuario, the hope for the team here in the Sportsbet Ballarat Cup. How do you see it profiling for him, both his stage of prep, what he's up against, and the conditions?
Conditions are a little bit unknown. We haven't really tested him in this, but I think he'll get through it well enough, and I think he maps to be in a good spot, not too far back, and in the right part of the track, so right weight on him. So obviously just find out today.
What was the takeaways, if any, from the Cranbourne Cup, where he just simply didn't really get a crack?
I just didn't get a run at them, sat him behind the whole way and never got out, so it's sort of forget run, really.
Have you had to do anything in particular in the 2 weeks since to just top him up with fitness?
Just carried on the normal prep fitness-wise and did the normal work, and I think he's about right where you need to be.
What's his ideal landing spot going to be back out to 2,000?
Just hoping he ends up in the right spot. You know, if he ends up in midfield in the right spot, I think he's a good chance.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, best of luck to all the connections for that matter. And I can tell you we're not too far away from a starter. We're closer than we were at Jala as well. So nice to see these horses are making their way out onto the course. There goes Aerosol. Anything sort of catch your eye in terms of horses that really parade well and thought, well, they're ready to go?
Yeah, I actually really like the look of Shaiha. Am I saying that correctly? Yep. The Busserton runner looked really good in the yard. Nice lightweight. Only thing is that draw off what we don't know the tempo will be. But it's looking well in the yard.
Third run of the preparation. Annabelle Archibald about to have a chat with Nigel. He's talking to everybody.
Well, Hutch, we're reminiscing of sorts. It's a wonderful place, Ballarat, Annabelle, but it's also a strong reminder in the past couple of hours why you spend the large majority of your time north of the border.
Yeah, no, I'm getting photos of from Matilda, who's looking after my dog in the sun, the swimming. Everyone's in the swimming pool. So yeah, no, I'm down here in the grey, dreary weather. But anyway, we're here, and hopefully we can try and win the Ballarat Cup to make it worthwhile.
We're in firm agreement about the weather, and we'll talk about firm agreement. The change of tactics notification, it's one thing to put the notification in, but another thing for it to crystallise. How does that happen with Ryan's talents?
Well, that's exactly what I just said to Ryan. I said we've put in a change of tactics to try and be further forward. Obviously, whether it materialises is another thing. But to be fair to the horse, he's drawn wide most of the preparation, and he doesn't have enough speed to sort of work across. He actually jumped quite well at Newcastle last start, first time blinkers, but so did everything else. So he ended up having to come back. But he actually jumped okay, and if he'd drawn the same barrier that he's got today, he would have probably landed in the first 4 or 5. So look, hopefully he lands closer today. He'll enjoy getting his toe in, and certainly what we've learned about Ryan Houston is he's very good on horses, getting them out of the gates and getting them up on pace.
Is there a leap forward in condition from his third to his fourth run?
Yeah, I hope so. I think the main thing is he probably didn't let down on that very firm Newcastle track, but he's going to love these conditions today. So just need to see him build a bit of confidence. His 3-year-old form's excellent. Obviously, runner-up in a derby. Just need to still see him take that progression from 3 to 4, but he's had a few excuses this prep.
Good luck, Annabelle.
Thank you.
Well, I can tell you there's a fair bit going on here. While we had the delay for St George, and Craig Williams literally just got back on with some re-shoeing, there's a re-saddling going on of Casino 17, and because a piece of gear was left, Jayla, that means that
Harry, he has to reweigh, so probably going to be a little bit of a delay again here because they're going to have to resaddle the horse. Not ideal, but these kind of mistakes can be made.
When it rains, it pours. Nigel has done all of the above so far today. We've had wind, bits of gear left, horses re-shod. It's all happening.
Crazy day. So, yeah, pad left off is the information that's come through in regards to Casino 17. So, fairly important half kilo that needs to be accounted for. Harry Coffey is hard at work here. Ben Allen's almost supervising here in the scales area, and Possum is, as always, the man on the scene to try and ensure that our riders have got all the gear they need and that all that gear is in the right places. So happening just a couple of metres away from us, Hutch and Jayla, is Harry Coffey jumping off the scales.
What's happened there, Jayla? Harry's gone to get on the horse and then realised?
I think so. I think there's just been a piece of packing left off, and because Harry's not that much of a big boy, he has a decent sized pieces of packing underneath that. May weigh more than that half a kilo, and if you come in half a kilo light, he could run second in the race, he could win the race, he'll lose it. So they're crossing the T's and dotting the I's here. I think it may have just been an accident. It wouldn't have been done deliberately, but it's holding us up a little bit longer nonetheless.
Yeah. Can see Ben Allen having a bit of a laugh at Harry's expense here in the room while we're waiting St George on his way down to the start. Nigel, I think he's going to hear from the boys a little bit about this incident.
It's kind of like standing over someone changing a tyre and providing no help whatsoever apart from just observing. We did see footage a moment ago of St George making his way to the gate. So that replating has been completed with Craig Williams now legged aboard. And you can see bottom right of screen, we're going to have a scheduled clash here because the 8th event of the afternoon at Moorfield Parks is looming large. We'll, of course, stick with our coverage here of the featured Ballarat Cup. You do see John Kelton's selections on screen. 2134, his numbers. He's at the top of the weights in the Class 2 that's coming away from Adelaide shortly. But here, the replating, the delays, hasn't seemingly deterred market confidence with St George.
No, it hasn't, and one little bit, has it? So it's been pretty solid. I mean, it was being back through the day, and you can see it was going to start a favourite. Looks like about half a point ahead of Kingswood, and I thought they might come for air assault a little bit, but it's gone the other way. But Jayla, you were saying to me off air a moment ago, maybe the 2,000 metres could be the question mark with that horse.
Yeah, just looking through the race and his previous runs, the 2,000 to me is a bit of a question mark. He hasn't actually ran a strong 2,000 metres, but in saying that, he may be able to dictate to his own terms in front, so that could be a benefit to him.
How's Berkeley Square handling a 10-minute delay like this? Is this just water for ducks back for a horse of his age and acumen, or is there some work for the rider to do to keep him settled?
No, he would have a pick of grass behind the gates if you let him. Got my words jumbled there, but no, it won't affect him. And to be quite honest with you, I don't think it's affected any of them. The Casino 17 has got a little bit wound up being resaddled, but naturally, every horse in the mounting yard has left him. So I think they're all handling the occasion.
Here's St George with the Clark, of course. You can see Lee Allen and Jack Turnbull leaning against the mounting yard fence with pensive/confused look on their faces to what's happening. So
he's on his way back.
Whether Craig Williams has maybe detected something, but we'll get a little bit more information in a moment on what's happening.
Possibly.
I think he may be giving him a trot and canter up potentially just after being reshod. He does go with the pony, so he doesn't get a great big warm-up. The gates aren't far from the start.
Jack Turnbull has just confirmed that Craig Williams is merely just warming him up.
Just as I was saying.
This could be the first Ballarat Cup run under lights, the way we're going. But the race is worth $500,000.
Yeah.
So you've got every reason to use every moment you've got to make sure that the favourite's ready to rumble.
He's certainly doing that. Yeah, if there was a time limit, he would have burnt that up by now. But anyway, he's on his way down. And you know what? In fairness, we were waiting for Casino 17.
Yeah, who is only just making his way past the winning post now under Harry Coffey. So he'll have a couple of 100 metres to make his way to the start. Hey, you thought your first day on racing television was going to be a straightforward one, but there's bouncers and leg spinners and off breaks getting thrown every which way, but wouldn't have it any other way. And thank you so much for making yourself available to be part of our coverage today. It's your adopted home here at Ballarat, and a race that's very special to you after the deeds of Berkeley Square last year. So we and our viewers have been indebted and lucky to have you part of our broadcast today. So thank you so much.
No, it's been great. Like I said, just wanted to be able to give my jockey perspective post-race, and like, I love the racing. I watch a lot of it, so it's great to be a part of it, and you've made me feel very comfortable and welcome.
So we're going to hold here at Ballarat to get the 8th event of the afternoon away at Moorfield Park. So back shortly for the Sportsbet Ballarat Cup, but let's send you to Adelaide.
Round 2, and he's a cool cat last in.
We're moving in for the Ballarat Cup. After that eventful race in Adelaide, so then almost loaded. Let's go to Adam Crittenden for the call here for the feature of the afternoon.
2,000 metres ahead of them. St George moved in and they're all loaded. Set to run. They're away. Ghetto Superstar about a length slow. Statuario was one of the first to get going with Air Assault. Firm Agreement is nice and close. Detonator Jack was next, and then Shayar followed Kingswood, who gets himself into about 5th or 6th position on settling. Casino 17 was next, and they were followed by St. George, who's on a 4-wide run in the early stages, getting up to midfield. Poison Chalice was next from Promises Kept and Cadmus, Ocean Beyond, Ghetto Superstar. And last year's winner, the local hope here, Berkeley Square. He's at the tail of the field as they head past the 1400. So Aerosol has the lead, 3/4 on St. George, who whipped up into second spot. 2.5 to Statuario third, fourth Firm Agreement. Just on a length away to Detonator Jack, Casino 17 and Shayar. Kingswood was next, and then Poison Chalice, followed by Promises Kept, and then Cadmus, Ghetto Superstar, Berkeley Square, and now a length away last is Ocean Beyond as they moved off the back. So they're inside halfway in the Cup, and it's Aerosol who led them off barrier 1. He led by a length over St. George, 2.5 away third Statuario from Firm Agreement, and then Detonator Jack. Shayar's been deep all of the way. Casino 17, Kingswood's been amongst runners. Then Promises Kept, followed by Poison Chalice and Cadmus. Berkeley Square's got 12 lengths to make up. Ocean Beyond and Ghetto Superstar last as they head around the turn. Aerosol just had the lead from St. George. A length Statuario, Detonator Jack running on. Berkeley Square's the deepest out, and then followed by Kingswood into the clear from Casino 17. Into the straight, St. George up to Aerosol. Statuario closing. Detonator Jack, Kingswood back towards the inside. Berkeley Square's looming up. 200 to go. And Berkeley Square goes to Statuario. Then Cadmus from the back running on. Berkeley Square drew away. He'll do it again. Berkeley Square's home in the Cup. 2.5 lengths over Cadmus. Third in Statuario, and fourth in was Kingswood. They were followed by Detonator Jack. Next home was Ocean Beyond and Poison Chalice. St. George. Further back to Firm Agreement. Aerosol got tied. Ghetto Superstar. And towards the tail end was Promises Kept.
Berkeley Square puts himself into Ballarat Cup history. Rare company indeed. The first since Kauai in 2018 and 19 to go back-to-back. Our own Jayla Kennedy, part of it 12 months ago, is as excited as anyone after Luke Nolan got it pitch perfect from the rear of the field hutch to sail past them down the outside. What a run from Cadmus into second as well after that performance on Melbourne Cup Day. Statuario and Kingswood complete your top 4. Both of the greys had every chance, but all honours to Dan O'Sullivan's wonderful gallop at Berkeley Square, who goes back-to-back in the Ballarat Cup.
That will make the broken toe feel a little bit better, Nigel, for Dan O'Sullivan and his team, and pure elation in here watching the race with Jayla Kennedy, who was successful last year and sidelined, as we know, with this injury, and she couldn't be happier with the rest of the team. That is an amazing win. Well done. Great training performance. And Berkeley Square is a quality galloper on his day, and he's turned up in fantastic form, as we can see some of these shots from Jayla. Hugs all around. Pure elation, like I said. They're absolutely delighted and good on them. Statuario was fantastic. Kingswood, as mentioned, and St. George probably had their opportunity, but a really decisive win in the end to Berkeley Square. Certainly a bigger margin than what he got last year, but he got a smooth run, a nice tempo, came down the centre part of the track, and he was just in a different league to his rivals. Nige, as we head back to you with Jayla, of course, who's still on cloud 9.
Yeah, Hutch, there's more tears and raindrops, and Jayla's amongst the
All
winning
right,
connection.
tell me.
Who have you got, Jayla? Who have you got?
I have Mel O'Sullivan with me, Dan O'Sullivan's beautiful wife. How does this feel? Back-to-back, baby.
Well, first of all, Jayla Kennedy said to Dan he needs blinkers, 1. Sarah Field said working like a rocket, 2. And to David Peacock, thank you so much. Congratulations, thank you for your loyalty, and well done, Dan.
Yeah. The best.
This is so good.
Dan O'Sullivan's hugs everywhere. Mel finds the hubby now. And Jayla gets in for a hug as well. Dan, congratulations. Magnificent training performance to bring him back for a second victory in the Ballarat Cup. Last year was something special, but I get a sense looking at you that this supersedes it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it was like, I don't know, not under pressure, but it's just good to see him do it and going with the blinkers on and just once he went forward at the half, I was like, oh, here he comes, it's going to be beautiful. And to win so comfortably like that was just really, really good. And he's just a bloody good horse, and he's just, I don't know. I've been reluctant to put the blinkers on for a while, rather than he'd over race, but Luke just got it perfect today, and he's just a bloody good horse, and he's won over $2 million in prize money now, so it's good effort to do.
You're pretty comfortable with how it was playing out in the early stages. There were the question marks over what the draw would mean for how his race would play out.
Yeah, I said to Luke, I was very paranoid about him settling, and he jumped out a little bit slow, which he can do. And I was pleased to see Craig's horse go forward and apply a bit of pressure to Air Assault. And we knew he'd be strong late in the race. And to see him go and win by a couple of lengths like that's great. Yeah.
Mel's just filled us in a little bit. It is a team effort, and you've lent on some young riders in our ranks like Jayla and Sarah Field for some advice, and that advice has helped produce this victory.
Yeah, that's right. So it is a team effort, and Jayla's been at me for a long time, and Sarah's stepped up and been riding work since Jayla's been out, and they've all got their jobs to do, and they think I don't listen to what they say half the time, but usually I do. Sometimes I put it in the back burner, but I do take most things in, but sometimes you've got to make the right time to make that call.
Dan, congratulations in the more than 160 years history of this race. Berkeley Square's now on the top shelf as a two-time winner, so well done.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Luke Nolan's going to come in and chat to us. He grabs his second Ballarat Cup in the space of a handful of years after the win on Zaydani for Lindsay Park. Luke, congratulations. You had a look at all of them in front of you, but he looked like he had a pretty easy time getting past them. Pick it up from halfway for us and how things panned out.
Well, it was important to probably get the first part right with the blinkers first, or blinkers again. The other two times he'd had him on, he sort of didn't get cover, didn't get that chance to rest. Whilst he was strong into the body, he wasn't aggressive. And I got an opportunity. I came away to sort of 3 deep line, and just made my job a little bit easier because I wasn't that far back from him. And just when the change-up came, I gave him a chance to sort of blend. I had a lot to do still, but I hadn't used a penny. I hadn't spent a cent, and he just got stronger into it. And I just thought they'll come back to me, but he was surging at him. It was a very strong win. Like, I think I'm not sure how many runs he's had here, but he's 2 for 2 at the 2,000 metres here. So might as well have a go at a free-peat, and then it's going to be on to me and Jayla who rides him next year, because it's a swings and roundabout sort of thing. Like I was supposed to ride him in this race last year, and I had that unfortunate fall, but she did a marvellous job, and now she's on the sidelines, and I got to take up the reins again. So it's one of those things. Racing, you take the rough from the smooth, and whilst I'm having a good run of the smooth, and Jayla's having a bit of a rough run of it at the moment, but these things turn around very quickly.
Put it in great context as always. Was there a particular runner, one of the favourite greys that you were sort of looking to track or keep an eye on?
No, not really. I was just trying to get my part of the race right, because most of the horses that were probably going to be dragging me into the race were all going to be forward of me, and I thought Craig would sort of push his hand from the outside gate, so I knew I couldn't sort of let him roll down the hill and expect to get him back, so I took my medicine, and the race turned out really well for us in the end.
You've worked with some great trainers. Dan O'Sullivan is as understated as they come. Talk to us about his talent, what he's done to be able to produce this horse 2 years in a row.
Well, he's done an excellent job, and the horse had been running well. He was great in the Geelong Cup, but he's pegged him on this day because there's an option for him every week. And after that so-so run at Flemington in Queen Elizabeth, or the Queen's Cup, I think they call it now, or the King's Cup, I don't know what they call it now. They keep changing it, but he said he just said back off, and we'll pick this race target this race in a month's time. So he needs to be commended for that. And he grows the leg on this track too. So he's done a great job with him. It's probably been a bit of a tour because he hasn't really won. He's continued to run well and tested his patience, but he hasn't won a race since this day last year. So a lot of the credit goes to Dan and his team. They do a wonderful job.
Thanks, Luca. Well-deserved success.
Thank you, Nigel. Cheers, mate.
And George working for about 700 metres to then work up outside of, as you mentioned, the leader. And what happened was they pulled the pressure on from the 650 with Air Assault there. But what he did is Lukey got on the back of Shayar. Cadmus was behind him there. He knew Barclay Square was going to bring him into the race. They all dropped off. And he's in that fresh ground. Have a look at the clods that he's bringing up. Hardly any. And have a look at the horses on his rider screen. That fresh ground, that new strip, absolutely beautiful. Jorio, where it was terrific. Cadmus is trying to run on in that fresh ground behind Barclay Square. Blinkers on.